welcome back to week 2 of the 50 Fun Fab Fairies Challenge. I want to talk a quick little bit about supplies for this entire series because I didn't mention it last time for week 1. We're going to be using 3 different kinds of papers over the course of this 10-week series. And these are the only 3 papers that I ever use. Even though I do hundreds of projects throughout the year, hundreds and hundreds, I only use 3 types of paper. So if you like hanging out with me, you like my teaching style, it'd be cool if you had these around, then you'll be prepared to do literally any one of my projects. The first is toned paper. That's what we did when we did week 1, right? If you don't have toned paper, just use craft paper or use a grocery bag. Those or you know, it works really well as the inside of a cereal box. Perfect toned paper right there, okay? The second kind of paper you'd want to grab is some watercolor paper. There's cheap kinds like this. It's totally adequate for what we're doing here on YouTube. That is fine. That just enables you to use any wetness at all whatsoever in your project. So anytime we use Tombows or water-soluble pencils, markers, crayons, pens, you'll be able to do those projects as well. And then the third type of paper is Bristol or cardstock. They're equivalent, so either one is fine. I use these for all of my dry media. So those, I just don't want you to get overwhelmed to be like, every week we change and we're like, what else do I need to buy? Well, those are the 3 papers I use for every single project outside of canvases when I'm doing painting. But even here on my drawing channel, where we just draw occasionally, it's just nice to throw in some markers and pencils, right? That have that water reactability ability. It just takes your art to a whole nother level. So I can't wait to introduce some of these products to you during this series. So fun. So get out your score sheet. I've set up and you're like, what's score sheet, Karen? Well, over at Awesome Art School, I've set up this entire series in a free classroom for you. And in that classroom, you can grab the score sheet for the entire series. You can grab the PDF of the references that we're using for each week. There's the clickable supply list, everything you need. It's set up like a real paid classroom, but it's totally free and it accompanies this series. So I will leave a link in the description box and in the comment section below if you want to pop in. Also, all these videos are there for you as well. I'm gonna shut up now. Let's draw. You ready? You want to see what we're doing today? We're gonna be doing a variation of this girl. Okay, and I'm going to be using water-soluble materials on my watercolor paper. So grab some paper, let's do this. So for supplies, we already talked about paper. You're going to need something water-soluble. So in case you're new to water solubility, you might be like, oh my God, I have to buy more supplies. No, you don't. You guaranteed have something that's water-soluble in your home. Did you know that like felt tip markers? Totally water soluble. What does water soluble even mean? It means when you add water, oh my God, Zoe's drinking from my fresh water, they smear. See how they do that? They kind of melt. Okay, so felt tip pens do that. You know what else does that? Just regular, all fine liners that are not Sharpie are also water soluble. You can use any of these are water soluble. These are just, you can find these at your local pharmacy or office supply store. Fountain pen inks, all water soluble, except in some cases. These are real cheap ones. These are like $8 for like a 7-pack. They come in really fun colors. Or if you have like a well-equipped studio, you might have water soluble materials already. I'm going to be using a water-soluble or watercolor pencil today. So again, it works just like the felt tip pen. When you add water, it kind of smears around. So you can buy everything from pencils. You can buy proper watercolor markers. There's so many products that you can buy. Tombows are really popular. That's what these are. So anything that you have that when you add water will run is what you want to be using for this project. I would highly recommend drawing this first in pencil, just regular graphite pencil in case you want to erase. I'm not going to. There's also additional resources. I have my face guideline sheet and the shading guide we're going to be using today. and the reference. All of these are available, and the supply list are available in the free classroom that I referenced earlier, and links are in the description box for you to sign up if you want to do that. So I'm just gonna pick any color. Ooh, what am I in the mood for today? I kind of want to make this really my own and go different. I don't want to copy anyone exactly. That's kind of lame. So I'm gonna choose a completely different colorway. I'm feeling kind of blue today. Like today is a good blue day. I was looking for my Stabilo. Stabilo all pencils are the most water soluble, and I can only find my blacks. They do come in different colors, but for some reason I can only find black. I think this blue is really pretty, the spectrum blue, but use any color that you like. Zoe, you need to move on, girlfriend. I always have a cat up here, and while I love them, it's just really hard to art when you have a fluffy butt in your face. Okay. All right, so get your, follow along with the guidelines. This tells you where to put the eyes, nose, and mouth, and where on the face. So you can have this in front of you to help you. And the reason we can use that this week versus last week is that these are humanoid proportions. Last week, the first lesson, we had like alien fairy proportions. So that is a little different today. So I'm gonna start with an oval. And this is hot pressed, which means it's really smooth. And even though that I can't erase these lines, I just leave all the extra lines in here. So I'm gonna, right away, I'm gonna kind of I call it shoring up, which is like defining it. So I'm going to press down a little harder on either side. She has like this squared off jaw, which is so beautiful. It kind of comes here and then it kind of like turns the corner. And then her chin also is like abruptly kind of turns the corner. And then this is all covered by hair. So I'm just gonna leave that side alone because we're gonna have hair sweeping down like that in just a second. All right, I'm still gonna put my guidelines in. I am, even though I can't erase this. I know, that's how much I depend on them and how important they are. So again, you divide this in half and that's the eye line. And then you divide that in half again, that's the nose line, and then that again is the mouth line, and that's what's laid out here for you. So the eyes are 3 with 3 eyes across. I am obviously not pushing down too hard because I want to define the features a little bit better, and this are all gonna activate because I am gonna be adding water. So right away, I can even place the ears. So the ears will go from the eye line to the between the nose and the mouth. And there's hair in here too. So we're just gonna come up. These are not as crazy as last week's. Last week's were bananas. I keep saying last week. It wasn't really last week. It was 2 weeks ago. Okay, so we have kind of that and that. And then her hair. So hair always starts inside the oval. So you're gonna come down a little bit. So the hairline is more like down here. You always have volume of hair going above and inside of the circle for the oval for the head. So we're gonna start here. And I love how this kind of just shoots up and then comes and gets crazy. And then shoots up and then comes down and gets crazy. Okay, so it has a ton of volume, and remember, I just said it goes above and over on either side, the oval for the head. Okay, now let's zoom in and let's we're gonna identify. We're going to fine tune the facial features. So here's my ovals, and I know they're the proper width apart. So I'm gonna start in the corner and I'm gonna come up, do a diagonal line. She's got pretty big round eyes. Come over, and then again come up, oop, and then these come up. I made gigundo tear ducts, don't know why, but I did one. That means I have to kind of replicate that on the other side. So here we go, we coming down, and then gigundo tear duct, too late now, and here we go. Yeah. All right, Now she also has like her eyelid, which is just a curved line that kind of mirrors the top of her eye line, like this. And then the eyebrows start just to the left of the right eye here, so just over a tiny bit. And these are just feathery little eyebrows to the left. And again, up here, feathery little eyebrows over here. And oh, she's got some hair. It's gonna come down like this, so we don't even see the whole corner of the eye here. And then she's got these great big, gorgeous, looking forward irises. I'm going to do them all right here. And then we kind of need to do the same thing on this side. And then I'm going to fill in for my whopping tear duct here and there. I don't really even see any eyelids. Kind of make these a little darker. All right, let's move down to the nose. Her nose is adorable. So there's like a ball in the center, and then, which is so cute. All right, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna come down from the ball and we're gonna make this little U. Teeny tiny little U. Look at the little U under the ball. Okay, and then we're gonna go whoop on this side and whoop. You guys know what a whoop is, right? Obviously it's this shape. Don't know why you wouldn't know a whoop. And then we're gonna put parentheses on either side, okay? So we're gonna do parentheses and parentheses. All right, got some parentheses there. You better. All right, let's do her nose, her mouth. Hello. Come down a little bit, and we're gonna do that same U shape for the nose. We're gonna do for the mouth. Her mouth is adorable. I love how it goes, and then it's like, it comes right down. Comes down on either side. And then we do that shape again. Look, there it is again. We have 3 of those in a row. And then this comes like this, and this comes like this. But what I love about her is that she actually has like an upturned mouth. It's actually smiley. She has them like this. Now we're gonna complete the bottom lip, which just comes here, and then this is just like a circle. Circle, it's not her circle, it's like a half circle. So she even has like a little smiley smile. And then she has this upside down little line like this. And then I realized her chin is super crooked, nice. It's always nice when you realize the chin is crooked and you've already drawn the face. So I'm gonna adjust it by just pushing super hard down on my pencil. And again, we have the hair kind of flowing, just flowing hair everywhere. And then her neck is hiding in the darkness down here somewhere. Okay, and then her shoulder, but then this is still just masses of hair. Look at our fairy. Let's just fine tune our little ears real quick. So we have this. And then we have, again, the thickness of the ear, something like that. And then we can maybe just pop in like one more. I'll just make this all hair, so we don't even have to draw that part. And then we'll come over here. And the same thing, there's kind of thickness here. And then kind of hair, so we don't have to draw that. Now I do love her little forehead thing, and I think I'm gonna maybe do only her forehead thing in a different color, and then leave everything else blue. That way it's kind of like magical too. Ooh, yes. All right, well, I love her already, and we've only done the outline, so let's keep going. All right, let's add some shading, and this is where the shading guide comes in. This is actually a page out of my How to Draw Fun Fab Faces book, and it shows you the different shading patterns. So we're going to be doing this one right here, and I know that because it matches the shading pattern on her face, although it is a little bit more off to one side, so it's actually kind of, I'm so sorry, it is more like this one. Sorry, I take it back, but mirrored. Because you can see how there's a lot of shading on one side of the nose and not the other. So the reason this is so helpful is because it makes you perceive the shadows in very simple value terms, so that it kind of like demystifies the process. So you're like, okay, you put the shading exactly here and here and here. And sometimes it's distracting when you are looking at a finished photo, when there's so much going on. So that's why that shading guide is handy, because it helps you kind of cut to the chase and see exactly what is important. So we're gonna add some, just some light shading, because when we activate this with our water, it's gonna be a pretty powerful effect. So I'm gonna just sketch really lightly, and I'm gonna add shading. So I'm following the shading here and kind of reinforced by that shading guide. So it kind of goes all like this, goes like almost to the ball of the nose. And then just really lightly. And using the water part is totally optional, guys, by the way. But I do recommend you do it, because if you're following along the challenge, kind of for realsies, and you're gonna be doing 4 variations, you could like activate one variation and not the others, but you should at least, because you're supposed to do 5 total for each project. So I hope at least one of them you give the shading a try, just so you can kind of experience it for yourself. Kind of the magic and coolness of it, because it is super fun. Okay, so there's kind of shading there, and then there's shading on this side of her face. Again, I'm just simply not pressing down super duper hard. Just kind of light. And then here. And then let's see, this is actually really dark. Or under the neck is going to be very, very dark, so that we can. Now the water will kind of help spread this, so I don't need to actually go so crazy the whole time. See this sort of shape down here. I don't want to get too caught up with her neck and all this business. We really are more worried about her kind of face, but we could have something down there. All right, let's do her lips. I'm going to sharpen my pencil. And then her lips, I know they're very blue. I'm going to make I'm gonna just make my pencil lines kind of go in the direction of her lips, like that. And make no mistake, when we run a wet brush over this, it is all going to smear together for sure. So don't panic. So this, her shading on her nose too, is like, it's like a letter M. It's like, you see the M? I'm literally gonna draw an M on her nose, and you'll be like, oh yeah, there's an M. See her M? There, that's an M on her nose, but that's also the shape of the shading. Okay, now on this side, it's not really shaded on the right, but it is up on the nose, but it actually kind of resumes up here. And again, the symmetry is kind of important. Now that's why I had this line, and as you can see, I'm not very symmetrical. I have to let my cat out, she's stuck. All right, so here we have it only to about here. Shady, shady. And then there's like a light spot here, so we're gonna kind of leave that place alone. And then it gets really dark, like here and all around here. I'm noticing. and along this side of her face as well. But this is pretty scribble scrabbleville. So what we're gonna do, I think I'm gonna draw her head thing on afterwards, and maybe do it in a different color so it really like stands out. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, we have basically the shading is sorted. Oh, you know what else is shaded? Is actually under her nose. Oh, but actually, so I sort of just discovered a incorrect shading. So the shading is more heavy on the left side of her face. So actually this shadow under her nose is backwards. This little bulby part should be over here. That's so funny. So yeah, this is reversed. So it should look like this and not on this side, but over here. Now she has blue boogers. Whoops. Okay, so that way, because you need to be consistent with your shadows. So that will be over on this side. Okay, and then we will draw that thing on her head. So just wrap up her shading. There's some by her hairline here, because the shadow is casting it onto her skin. Okay, so little final touches. If you want to, if you're really proud of her and you want to leave her, that's fine. I'm going to do her lashes afterwards because I want them to not be blurring with everything else. So if you want to, you can go and like press down on any lines that you're like loving, and you can make them kind of bold. And again, you do not have to add the water. If you're super pleased with your drawing, you don't have to add the water part at all if you don't want to. But again, if you're doing this challenge kind of quote unquote correctly, you totally should be following along at least once and give it a try. And maybe you leave your first one and don't activate your first one, but maybe you do that on the second one. Just so you can make sure you have your little success with you. All right, so there is the drawing, and I'm going to grab a paintbrush. And again, the supply list to the exact things that I'm using are in the they're in the free classroom for you already, just to make life so easy. All right, so but the next step is going to be, I'm going to be taking all I have is a simple bowl of clean water. This is a watercolor brush. I only use Polina Bright watercolor brushes, and that's it. I put glass beads in the bottom because it helps clean my brushes really, really well. So again, when we add, just going to add another hair line here. When we add the water, it's going to, you know, kind of dissolve the lines that we have drawn. Oh, I forgot to take a picture. I'm gonna do that real quick. All right, so it also matters how much water you have in your brush. If you have a really wet brush, it's going to really make all your things run. If you just use a damp brush, it's not quite as shocking. So I like to get mine really wet, and then I usually kind of just run it on a paper towel for starters so that it's damp and not wet. And I'm gonna start here up at her hairline, and I'm just gonna run the brush over the colors. Oh, it's so, so pretty. Again, I'm gonna wet my brush, I'm gonna tap it on my paper towels, and then I'm gonna do this side. Now it's still really wet, but I'm gonna run it along this strand of hair. I'm kind of like, come with me, and then taking it with me. So I'm just following the lines, but I'm touching the brush super on purpose so I can smear the goodness of the color into the other areas. Again, get a nice swish, tap it on my paper towels. When I go into her face, I'm gonna tap it once and then twice to get it a little bit more damp and less soaking. Again, it's still too wet, so I did it another tap. Now I'm going to just use the water to just I'm just smearing the lines that we have drawn already. I'm just running the brush over. Now say you're like, ooh, oh no, but the shadow isn't supposed to go in there. Just take your paper towels and you can actually just lift it right up. You can erase, okay? So maybe you're like, oh no, but I want it there, and then you can put it back. Okay, so we have this. Ooh, make sure you're looking at your reference. And then again, I'm just taking my brush and wetting all the lines. Just running it and wetting all the lines. Now, if I had used the Stabilo all pencil, it would be crazy water soluble. So this is not, and I'm laughing about the Stabilo. If you're new to my world, you don't know what that's sort of an inside joke. The Stabilo Black All Pencil is my absolute favorite for mixed media projects. I do a lot of that on my mixed media YouTube channel. This is my drawing YouTube channel. My mixed media channel is a lot larger and older, and I do a lot with Stabilos there. And it's like the Mac Daddy, but also scariest of all watercolor pencils. All right, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do under her chin, which is, remember, it's really dark under here, so we can actually just go ahead and smear that all together. I don't really like this situation line, so I'm just going to smear it all together. Real nice and easy. Okay, now we have to do the left side of her face. I can't really put my hand down because everything's wet. Nice job, Karen. And again, if it's too wet and too smeary, just make your brush damp instead of wet, and that will help immensely. Going over the eye, around here, and then her nose. And she's becoming very like ethereal. And then again, my brush is still just damp and not soaking. There's that weird shadow. And then her lips. And I'm gonna leave the kind of the areas on either side a little bit not filled in, because then it creates like a nice highlight in there. If it got filled in, we can create a highlight afterwards, so don't worry about it. I'm going to make her have like a chin shape. So as you can see, she's really like dreamy now. She's very ethereal. Okay, so it's really not scary, especially if you use just a regular watercolor pencil. It's not that intense. So what I'm gonna do now is just dry this with my hair dryer, and we're gonna do a second layer, which we're then not gonna activate. So we're just doing the base layer as an activation layer, and then the next we're just gonna keep it dry. So take just wanna dry your paper and then grab your same exact pencil that you were just using. All right, so this is all dry, totally dry. So now we can do a second layer wherever we want. So wherever we want to punch up anything. So I'm going to, and sometimes it can just be like outlining certain things. Like I'm going to outline her eyes and also add like a little bit of, like I'm going to press down a little bit harder at on the top, along the top, and then I'm gonna just add a little shading at the top. So again, just like scribbling, adding a little bit more pressure. And then we can do the same thing. Say it like, oh, we like lost our eyebrows. Sometimes when you activate with the water, things kind of disappear. They just melt away. So we can go back and just redefine certain things. this. His hair kind of disappeared as well. Eyebrows. Eyebrows. Again, her nose kind of vanished. This sounds really weird, but we want her to have dark nostrils, so just really darken those up. And the parentheses can also be darker. And even the shading, we can do another quick pass, dry, because it's pretty punched up over here. And same thing with over here, we kind of lost this line. Same thing over here. This can be a lot more dramatic if you want. Oh, I am so sorry you can't even see that. Okay, sorry. First I did this one over here, just to recap. We'll do this, and then I did up here and down here, and then I redrew that line. And then on this side, I'm starting in over here. And not really coming down any further. And then again, yeah, we can outline. This is pretty dark in here too. As well as over here. And then let's see, her lips are also pretty dark. So the bottom of her top lip, that sounds so confusing. The bottom of the top, just doing another little layer dry. And kind of the same thing here, another layer. And then under her chin, again, it's like really dark in here. Just gotta draw that in. All right, so does she have a little bit more drama? She does. What is that? What is that weird bend? Don't even know. So if you want to add some more hairlines, you can. So her ears got a little washed out. Now, this is the cool part about water-soluble things. If you want to go and reactivate any parts again, you totally can. How cool is that? So say if I'll show you what it looks like. So you can, and again, but it looks really beautiful to leave it dry as well. So don't feel like you have to, but if you want to, again, just, you don't have to do super wet. Just do like damp. And that will just, again, it just kind of accentuates the lines that are there, but you are more than welcome to just leave all those same lines exactly dry as they were before. Okay, so now it's decision time. Do we want to put on her cool headpiece? And if so, what do we want to use? I feel like we should go for it. I feel like we should, but and she also needs some lashes. So I think what I'm going to do, and I always do this first of all, is take a picture of your piece right now, okay? Because if for some reason, this is my hack, things don't go well, you already have a picture of what it looks like, all awesome. Now I'm going to introduce you to my favorite writing tool of all time. This is the Puckett's Pentel brush pen. And if you're hanging out with me in any of my courses or clubs or online, you'll always see me wielding this pen. And this is my secret weapon for drawing eyelashes. It is a really, really fun tool because it draws both thick and thin lines. I'm searching around desperately for a piece of paper. So it does take a bit of practice. If you push down hard, it can make very thin, thick lines, and then you can also use its very tip to make very thin lines, very thin lines, and then you can also, just vary the pressure a lot. These are actual bristles in this brush. It's not just like a felt tip. And so it's awesome, but you can't use it, you can't use any permanent marker into something wet. So I'll have to dry this one more time, but I'm gonna doodle her little head, some sort of a headpiece, and I'm gonna put her lashes on and just do a little touching up with that so you can see what that looks like. I just dried this with a paper towel, and actually what I wanna do really quick is with a very damp brush, you know what I wanna do is accentuate these little poopy lines over here. These little smile lines. I feel like they need to be like not as like what's it called? You know, not as you know what I mean? Oh, all right, here's my pocket pencil, brush pen. I'm going to add lashes first and foremost. So I'm going to run a brush this way, and then I'm going to release and kind of flick up. And then now we have Drama Fairy. So I'm also going to do a light outline. The same thing on this side. I'm going to lightly, and then I kind of fling up, and then we just do, because a little bit goes a long way. And again, I just do like super tight, and I'm going to add her nostrils. Nostrils need way more love than you would think on a drawing, you know what I'm saying? And just a little flick here and a little flick here. The mouth can get a little outline love as well. And you can do as much or as little as this as you would like to. I like to kind of accentuate some lines. I'm just going over some of my favorites. This helps kind of like draw your attention to the important lines in your drawing without like outlining everything. Gorgeous. All right, let's get some eyebrows. And then even her lid. I'm just like sweeping that over again, like the most, what I consider the most, oh, that was a really broad stroke. The most important lines. You can just use black ink and a paintbrush too. That's essentially what this is, but kind of like all in one. And again, I'll do her lips. If you want, if you're ever scared to do something, remember my advice, take a picture in case you screw up. You'll never forget the moment that you weren't screwing up. So, boop. It's my hot tip. Okay, so we're gonna do our little headpiece, and I'm gonna do it in the straight up black. But again, you can do this with a pencil, with just a graphite pencil as well. It's hard because her hair is obscuring a lot of it, but there seems to be a diamond shape, like so. And then a diamond within it. It's a little bit of a Wonder Woman vibe. I don't even know what shape this is. And then it comes down, and then it kind of goes this way. Something like this. Doesn't matter if it's completely different. And in fact, the more different it is, the better. And this kind of comes up like this. Here, I'll just put that same shape inside and this. And then Lord knows I gotta do it this way. And this goes, kind of gets hidden under her hair anyways. And then I'm gonna use the same color, I think again. Ooh, no I'm not. I'm gonna make it just randomly this magenta color. This is a water soluble, just randomly was sitting next to me. So that'll be the only thing that's really the different color here. And again, I'm gonna take my wet brush And I'm just gonna run it over so it looks all meldy. Meldy McMelderson. Okay, and then as a one last little touch, I think it's important to have like a little shadow line under that. So going back to our blue, where's my blue? Oh, here it is. We can actually add a little shadow under it. Which you can leave dry or you can activate with your brush. So fun. It's like Wonder Twin activate. Now I'm dating myself. All right, and you can do as much or as little as I want. Oh, I think that was a good addition. That looks cool. And you can do that with anything. You can go up and like add this color to her lips if you want to accentuate that in some way. But now that's kind of like the focal feature. Or her eyes, you know, you can add this to her eyes and lips. You could do a million different things. You could go on and on and on and on. But I hope you enjoyed this. This was a lot longer than I expected, but I wanted to take my time and just teach you some new things, hopefully. Broaden your horizon. And I hope, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. It's amazing what you can do with a simple little pencil. Don't forget too, you can always go back if you have any areas that you were like, oh no, you know, whatever. You want to have a highlight somewhere, you can always go back and do that afterwards. So you can use a paint pen. Here's like, I have this fun little Dabber Do by Copics, and you can always go back and add in any highlights to places that you accidentally covered over. It's very easy to do. You can add them wherever. You can add them over her nose perhaps. So anywhere you want to go back and add, you can do that with a paint pen. Okie dokie. All right, don't forget to use the hashtag 50FunFabFairies. I'm giving away prizes, you guys. You do not want to miss. Futz away, and the more drawing versions you do, the more chances you have to win. Yeah, I can't wait to see. Come and join my Facebook group. It's Awesome Art School. And yeah, prizes time's coming up. The first of the month, we're doing the first giveaway. So I hope you enjoyed. And here's the playlist if you want to catch up on any of the other lessons. See you next time.